Against my better judgment, I found myself becoming more and more interested in Forsaken after the initial impressions started coming in. And once again, I've given money to Bungie after saying numerous times in previous videos that I wasn't going to get Forsaken, or at the least I would wait a little while. So for that, I want to apologize. I'm sorry. It's very hypocritical for me to put forth any type of opinion on Forsaken because of this, but if you would indulge me, these are my thoughts on Forsaken. I said after Warmind that Destiny has a narrative problem, and I'm very glad that the mistakes and missteps of Osiris and Warmind are far less prevalent in Forsaken. Forsaken plants us back into the Reef as we seek to avenge the death of the most beloved character in the franchise, Cayde 6. Uldren Sov, the Prince of the Reef, broke free from his imprisonment with 8 fallen barons to seek out his sister, the Queen. In doing so, he took it upon himself to end the life of our dear hunter Vanguard. Now, I was skeptical that a basic revenge plot would hold any weight, but it surprisingly tugs at your heartstrings in very subtle ways. Cayde's death never really had a deep impact on me until after I finished the main campaign and received the Memory of Cayde Hunter Cloak, whose description reads, "Hey, take me with you." I instantly felt all the time I'd racked up playing Destiny hit me, and how as a hunter, Cayde was the main character I interacted with. The attachment to Cayde gets even more emotional once you start the Ace of Spades quest. Final mission in the quest has you listen through Cayde's will, which is both in part funny, insightful, and touching. I can truly say that his death has impacted the world of Destiny. It's very strange not hearing his quirky one-liners in the tower anymore. You will be missed, Cayde. R.I.P. The decision to kill off Cayde, however upsetting it may be, was hands down the right choice. Cayde was really the only character in Destiny that had, well, any character. You couldn't have done this with Ikora or Zavala, as it would have no impact whatsoever. Just look at the Speaker, for example. No one's missing that guy. Nolan North took up the mantle of Cayde for his final excursion, and to my surprise, really did an outstanding job with his impression of Nathan Fillion's Cayde. There's only a few instances where his delivery doesn't quite land, but overall he knocked it out of the park, which is to be expected. He's one of the best voice actors out there today. Later throughout the story, it becomes increasingly clear that Uldren is being led astray by what appears to be Mara Sov, but instead is most likely an Ahamkara. This is very interesting, as it's the first time they are being introduced in the game in a form other than lore. Speaking of, lore is done justice in Forsaken, and I'm so glad it's finally in the game, as it's where I believe most of the interesting story of Destiny lies. Before you reach the climax in the Dreaming City, though, you have to venture into the Forgotten Shore and hunt the scorned sons of bitches that took Cayde from us. We are reintroduced to Petra Venj, the Queen's right-hand woman, and the Spider, a Fallen who wants his shore back and is willing to team up with the Guardian if it means ridding the place of Scorn and Uldren. Upon arriving at the shore, it felt very mysterious and open, like it was waiting to be discovered. It gave me some Old West vibes, which I believe was what Bungie's intentions were. Once you get to the main areas, though, it turns into another beast its own. The Forgotten Shore seems more like an area from a Mad Max film than something from Destiny, and the Barons further solidify that. You fight 8 Barons through the campaign through adventures instead of actual missions. I'm torn on how I feel about this. I really like the aspect that I'm going out here myself, tracking them down like a bounty hunter, but at the same time, I feel there's a lot of missed opportunity when it comes to the Barons. Every one of the Barons are unique and have a trait or gimmick specifically to them. They are some of the most interesting design and narrative enemies ever presented in Destiny, and I find it extremely disappointing that we didn't get to spend more time interacting and learning each one. They are some of the most interesting design and narrative enemies ever presented in Destiny, and I find it extremely disappointing that we didn't get to spend more time interacting and learning each one. Very few times do we get truly unique characters in Destiny, and I really feel like they could have been fleshed out a lot more. The encounters weren't balanced in terms of enjoyment either. I really feel like the Fanatic, the Rider, and the Mindbender really outshone the others. Not to say the others were bad, I just think they should have had the same level of, "Oh, this is so cool," that those 3 really had. They do shed some light into something that's really should have been explored more, and that was how Cayde tracked them down, imprisoned them, and all the Fallen he's killed off in his time. It would create a great point of contingency to make us question whether Cayde was the guy we really think he is, or if we just not listen to his 4-armed pirate and shoot him in the fucking face. The Scorn of the new enemy we are facing, they seem more like Uruk-hai from the Shadow of Mordor series than anything else in Destiny. They aren't an improvement as new enemies as much as they are just new enemies. Mind you, with similar mechanics to other enemy types we've seen. Looking at you, Cursed Thrall. The new strikes are very well done, with Warden of Nothing quite possibly being my favorite strike Bungie's ever done. The throwback to Prison of Elders, Skolas's area, Varric's the Servitor turning against us made this D1 veteran smile like a huge fucking idiot. The campaign this time around is such an incredible improvement over the last 2 DLCs that it just further sheds light on how terrible they are. However, the fact that our Guardian utters fewer words than Helen Keller is so utterly heartbreaking. Why our Guardian has continued to be written without dialogue is just baffling to me. There's times when we would obviously say something where we remain silent, but we can say deal in a really dramatic way, and it's going to make up for it, right? Right? Overall, I can't say I hate the story. I can't even say I disliked it. It was thoroughly enjoyable, and the twist ending revealing Ahamkara at the end got me very excited for the raid and the coming stories that can be told. I'm very nervous that we'll be let down once again, though, as the next 3 DLCs are said to be non-story focused, and I fear that this type of narrative, the narrative that Destiny needs, is going to be left for the most expensive expansions. Gambit is extremely fun in the Great Hybrid Game mode. It has an urgency to it that I've never had in Destiny before, and at times can be so punishing that it'll make you want to break everything you own, and then there's times where you feel like an absolute god and not even Odin himself can strike you down. Bows are a great addition to the Destiny universe. They're accurate as hell and very snappy. They're just enjoyable to use. The Crucible seems to be in a far better state than it ever was previously in Destiny 2, and for that I'm thankful. I can finally enjoy it again, at least for the time being, before it's inevitably fucked up again. The Collections and Triumphs tabs are the best quality of life improvements Destiny has received. It's so nice to see what gear you're lacking and which goals you should be grinding towards. Gear in Forsaken is a lot more aesthetically pleasing to me this time around, and I'm so glad that there's actually some gear that I do want to grind for, as that was one of my biggest issues with Destiny 2 as a whole. I can't rightfully recommend Forsaken though. For players who are on the fence about spending the money on Destiny, you'll have to ask yourself if you're going to want to spend more money on them later down the road. Because ultimately we'll be in this position again, where if you don't get the new expansion, you'll be left behind. Is Forsaken worth its price? Yes. Although I still think Season Pass holders should have gotten a discount for the Osiris and Warmind expansions being so shitty. If you've never played Destiny and you're thinking about jumping in, you get the base game, both DLCs and Forsaken for $40. It's a good bargain there. For me, I enjoyed Forsaken. It's a drastic improvement, one that Bungie needed. That being said, this franchise has had so many ups and so many downs, and it's hard for me to rightfully credit Bungie for getting the game to a really enjoyable state. I don't know if I'll be getting the annual pass or any other future Destiny releases. As it stands, I don't think I will. This is a very expensive franchise to be in, and it's not always rewarding. So does Forsaken save Destiny 2? Yes, but only if you can justify the price.